Welcome to Appian World 26. We are streaming live here in Orlando. I'm Allison Cossack alongside Dave Vellante, and things are really hopping now. It is loud in here. I think everybody's eating and mingling and having a great time.
Yeah, for the folks who joined us in our kickoff, it was much quieter.
It was.
And we told you it was going to get booming, and it is, it's bouncing.
And we're going to continue our interviews over the noise and fun that's happening here. I want to bring in our guests that are sitting here at theCUBE. We've got Jamie Turner, the founder and president of Acclaim Autism. Welcome to theCUBE. And we've got Medhat Galal, the senior vice president of engineering at Appian. Welcome to theCUBE as well. Jamie, I'm going to start with you. I'm curious about how you got started with Acclaim Autism. Why did you start it? And what made patient onboarding a critical challenge for you to solve, and how did you go about solving it, and what was the outcome?
Sure, I started Acclaim Autism. There were very long wait lists for behavioral services throughout the country, and a lot of parents were getting really, really frustrated at waiting months or sometimes years just to access the care that their kids really needed. So I decided to enter the field and do something about it. I was in a related field beforehand. And we started this, and we do provide services throughout our communities and in our clinics. We love what we do, but the patient onboarding time was taking about 6 months. So even once we had staff available, it could take up to 6 months to get somebody started. And that was just completely unacceptable to me. So we started to partner with Appian to find out ways to simplify that process and maybe use AI as well, and we were able to get that 6 months down to about 4 days.
Medhat, how was that possible?
Well, Appian technology enables the coordination of all that it takes to get someone through the door all the way until they receive services. Our data capabilities, our process capabilities, and AI simplify the orchestration of patient intake process, forms, just taking that data in, might be notes as you do interviews, all the way until it's digitized so that the professionals can actually arbitrate what do they need to do in that case, how do they recommend additional services. Appian orchestrates that front door all the way to the back office.
So what did it take? Well, I read that in the notes, from 6 months down to, I mean, just compressed it. That's an astounding acceleration. How long did it take you guys to work together to get to that point where you could achieve that outcome? What did you have to do? What kind of prerequisites were there?
It took a couple of months.
That's it? Wow.
Yeah. So we had to first of all identify the process, digitize the process, which is where Appian came in and really helped us to visualize our data and simplify things. And then we looked at the biggest bottleneck to the process, which was reading all these unstructured clinical documents we were getting from other providers and determining, okay, will these documents meet an insurance company's requirements or won't they? And humans in the past really struggled with that. It was really complex with all the regulations that varied based off where someone lives, what insurance they have, and sometimes they would end up just guessing and sending it off to the insurance company, who would take time to review it, say no, send it back to us. We'd go back to the family and the wheels just kept turning. So we decided to insert AI and to read those documents, and the error rate went down to 5%.
So how did you visualize it? I presume it wasn't a giant whiteboard. You've got tools to help do that. You've got discovery. Can you describe that?
There was an interaction model. I mean, Appian is very familiar with some of these coordination, bounce around problems in the enterprise. A lot of people use emails and spreadsheets and documents and dossier, and remember, like some of these documents, they may have had to do a parent-patient interview on site. The documents are there, but maybe the provider is not available and they have to figure out how to digitize it, maybe scan it and then send it over an email. They're on vacation, that comes back. With a digitized process, there is no loss in translation, there is no drop off in a task. You know how long anything is waiting in a queue? Just that alone, that coordination task gets eliminated through working together what is the critical steps and how to digitize that and who needs to do what, where, and when. So Appian just automatically orchestrates that. And then on top of that, for the unstructured information, when you use AI to extract these notes, case notes, handwriting notes, to get them in this digital format, it enables the process to take it front door all the way to the back end so that you can arbitrate, you can make business decisions, you can make recommendations, all in one seamless flow as opposed to the disjointed experience that you have just dealing with Microsoft Word or email.
I mean, healthcare is one of these industries that has been so ripe for transformation for so long. I mean, mobile changed things a little bit, but what are you seeing with with AI, how organizations are thinking about transforming healthcare?
Well, everybody wants everything faster, better, and cheaper. And maybe we didn't really talk about this that much, but I'm on the receiving end of the services that Jamie provides. My eldest is actually on the spectrum.
Oh, wow.
So our first
wow.
intake was 14 months long, and we actually told the story on stage last year. And I know what it takes because like the documents are bouncing around between the parents who are not very educated. And it's the same problem on the business side. Insurance and insurance providers, they're struggling between the providers, the patients themselves, and they want to coordinate that multiplayer problem. So we help them digitize the interaction for the consumer side of things. They have document ingestion problems, so we ought to help them with that as well. And you get the orchestration piece and the digitization piece correctly, you cut out a lot of the waste in the middle. All of Appian customers in the healthcare industry have very similar problems just on a document ingestion alone. The digital notes, handwriting notes, lab results, interview questions, just to summarize it.
I mean, what does that mean for a family? I mean, right? I mean, as opposed to describe the before and after for a typical family going through
We
this
didn't
process.
receive services through them, but I sympathize as a technologist, because I know that for my first kid, was diagnosed. It took 14 months just to get the scheduling, to get the information in place, get the interviews. It was very disorienting process. We had to send an email, and someone has to reply back. We have to pick up the phone. When it's digital, you know exactly whether you're waiting on someone or someone is waiting on you. That's a very uncharted territory when you're dealing in the current process that's very chaotic. With my second kid, it was a more digital process. They didn't get diagnosed, luckily. But it was very easy. We knew exactly what we needed to do, how to receive the service, and we started within 3 weeks as opposed to like what took 7 months later. And within four months, he was in of the diagnosis and out of diagnosis. That's a life-changing difference.
Go ahead, Jamie, jump in.
Sorry, what was your question?
Oh,
So what kind of feedback are you getting from patients and families? I'm curious to know sort of what they're telling you.
Well, the intake process, they're absolutely thrilled with it, right? Parents would frequently complain when their child gets diagnosed, they were used to just sitting on wait lists for months or years, waiting for the next available provider, whoever it is. And once they found someone who was a match, then they submit documents and more documents and more documents, and it was just back and forth, and they were very, very frustrated. So now they're just thrilled that they're going from months of onboarding to just a couple days.
Medhat, how does it feel that you're at the forefront of technology that's literally changing people's lives, and you can empathize because you have a child on this spectrum? Talk me through how that feels.
It was very heartwarming. When I learned about Jamie's story and we were helping the teams, I actually worked with our services teams and our technology teams to help them get that technology in place as soon as possible, because I've seen the struggle myself. So knowing that actually what we do changes lives downstream was kind of personal to me. Like, I've seen this, I sympathize with all the parents that are going through the same journey. Now this journey luckily is 9-10 years behind me, but for everybody else that is entering, there's disorientation, you have very little knowledge who to coordinate, and even if you are diagnosed and get provision services, there's still the insurance company that needs certain paperwork completed, which is a process, just to do that. So just smoothing out their services with the parents with the diagnosis with the insurance company just to receive the services, which are expensive. It's just night and day difference when you feel you've made a change, you made a difference.
Jamie, when you take an onboarding from 6 months down to days, you're eliminating a lot of paper cuts for the organization. So, how did you redirect that resource? How are they spending their time? What kind of other value are they able to add to the organization? What have you learned from that whole process?
As an organization, we're absolutely more efficient. We're freeing up our clinicians' time to spend less time on paperwork and administrative burden and really put the focus back on the kids, which is why people get into this field to begin with. So that's what they do every day. And what we've learned is there's other AI use cases that we started to work on. For example, just optimizing our staff schedules, like figuring out how to pair a new patient with a staff member. There's 40 to 50 different variables we look at to determine, will this be a good match? We don't want them driving across the state to go to someone's house. Geography's a factor, clinical fit's a factor. And so now we're using AI to give us options to say, these 5 staff members might be a great fit for this kid. Like, what do you think?
do you see a point where the AI actually starts developing plans and presenting them and maybe even implementing them?
Well, treatment planning is an ethical line that we don't cross, right? A child's unique and not the aggregate of other kids that fit into an AI model. So there are definitely guardrails in place that we have and hard rules that we won't follow.
And those are very clear in your industry, right? I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Things like HIPAA and so forth.
There's HIPAA regulations, there's ethical guidelines that certification bodies make us follow, and they're there for very good reason. Humans should be determining treatment goals in conjunction with families for these kids.
So Appian software can understand those
100%, because obviously it's not just about giving organizations the tools to smooth out all the rough edges in the process, handle the coordination tasks like life cycle, also the visibility. How fast am I producing results? How can I effectively distribute my resources and my people and my staff and my expertise to better handle the caseload that comes in, leaving the humans to do the best job they can do without all the toil that comes with the administrative work that is frankly very expensive for organizations to even maintain, when a technology can just handle that effectively and let the expertise in the staff to deal with the actual cases. And for example, one of the things that you touched upon, how did you deploy the staff differently? If they could handle that many cases in a month, cutting it down from 6 months to 4 days, they can handle that many more cases by virtue of deploying resources differently. The number of kids that would be able to receive treatment, not waiting in line, is even greater.
So Jamie, you have the head of engineering at Appian here. So he's obviously got some resources. He's got some juice in the organization. What do you want him to work on?
I would say taking our workforce planning and scheduling to the next level is definitely the next iteration for us. Not just for new patients that come in the door, but we have a workforce of hundreds of people. How do we optimize those schedules to make the most use of our limited clinical resources to make the largest benefit to our patients? And that's kind of the next iteration for us.
Yeah.
So Medhat, how do you tackle that issue? So
we built a brand new capability for agentic reasoning. So the initial AI that Acclaim Autism have used is kind of like the first generation agent capability that can do single step reasoning, do certain things, and it worked really well for them on the intake process. We've built capability and launched it late last year and continue to evolve it. It's one of the major announcements this conference, to do more planning, test breakdown, and that agentic reasoning is going to enable them to do things like, let me try different matrices for the planning of my staff scheduling, and we're going to work hand in hand together to make sure that it actually works very well in their case as well. That agentic reasoning, I think, is going to be a very powerful combination to start doing the higher level thinking process with the right guardrails and boundaries so that they can still apply the ethical guidelines they need to have.
I want to ask you about security and governance, and I like to say they're two sides of the same coin, but they're different.
They are.
And the standard line is you can't bolt it on. It can't be an afterthought. What does that mean from an engineering perspective? How do you design in security and governance so that your customers can feel safe, secure, and confident?
It's security and governance is a first-class citizen for us because, as you've seen, we handle highly regulated processes across the world, from financial services, healthcare systems, and whatnot. Now, Appian itself, as a first principled approach on security and governance, has certain capabilities. Process itself is a good guardrail for AI not to ever step outside the box you put it in. So if AI is designed, you're just going to extract this part of that information from this page. It can't step outside the box. It may make a mistake inside that box, but it's not going to step outside the box. That's the first layer. The second layer has to do with the data and the data handling. Our data fabric technology is designed to have column level security or low level security so that you can only allow the AI and the humans to see only the data they're meant to see in the moment they need to see it. So if you change the security paradigm in real time, we will compute that and only allow the AI to use that. And that's just the functional layer. Below that, we have all the compliance regimes and security certifications for how we handle sensitive data, how we handle financial data, how we handle healthcare data. And there are guardrails and governance from the product all the way to the last software engineer that is working on a product to cater to the highest regulated environments ever.
So 2 months, you said. Did that include a POC or no?
No.
Okay, so did you do a POC?
I'm sorry. Yes, it did
a POC.
It included a POC, yeah.
And then that took what, weeks?
A couple of weeks, yeah.
A couple of weeks?
Yeah.
And then you implemented, 2 months is amazing, actually, to compress it from 6 months to days. If you had a mulligan, I don't know if you guys golf. I really don't. I mean, I golf, but I'm bad. If you had a mulligan, what would you do differently?
What do you mean a mulligan?
Like a do-over.
A do-over?
You don't golf.
No, I don't golf. A do-over. I'd probably try and tap Appian for some of the more resources and help us even more than they did. They've been great partners.
You mean the professional services resources?
Well, Appian's internal resources. They've helped us a great deal, and I think having access to people at Medhat's level has been really helpful for us.
Yeah.
Let me ask the question, and either of you can answer it. What's the one thing organizations are getting wrong about digital transformation today? Both of you can hop in and answer.
You want to start?
In terms of what they get wrong about digital transformation?
Yeah.
I think people just try to do too much, whereas you can really just take a process, digitize it, insert AI where it adds some value, and iterate from there and just kind of keep going.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's perfect. Land on it. I'm going to use the golf analogy because I have a perfect slide that has a person that is sputtering and says aim small, miss small. I wish that I want to tell every organization it's important to get started. Don't wait too long. The next step will reveal itself. Take something high value, low complexity, get started, get the motion, get the wheels turning, and then pull on the next thread and the next thread. Don't try to make the perfect the enemy of the good. Visualize the entire process. Just get started, get going, and realize value sooner.
It's interesting. Michael Dell gave similar advice. You don't always get the high value advice. A lot of times they pick something that's not risky. But Michael Dell said exactly what you said, Medhat, because he said you got to pick something of high value, or what are you doing?
That's right. That's right.
Obviously manage the risk, but get started on that, and then you're going to start to see returns faster. You agree? I see you nodding.
Yeah, absolutely. For us, 6 months to get a patient started while you're holding a staff member's spot on their caseload, you don't get much more high value than that. You're making better use of our staff members. You're getting started with services earlier for kids. So pick that bottleneck and fix it.
Were people reticent at first when you first started this, or were they like, bring it on?
In our field, there's a severe lack of software which helps with operations. So there's no resistance to change whatsoever. Just bring on whatever you have.
That's great.
Well, congratulations. I mean, what a story.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you're literally impacting lives, which, we think of technology and so many people are scared of AI. And
I think that's what people have to realize when they work with technology, and I urge every technologist, when you're working on technology, just don't think about the feature and functionality that you're building within your respective products. Think about the end game. You're almost always helping somebody achieve certain outcomes for the people that they serve. That's what we're here for. Technology for the sake of technology is not very useful. Technology to better human lives, to better processes, to serve citizens better is the way to go when you think about the mindset you need to have to build those technologies.
I love that. Value. Think about the value.
That's right.
Good advice.
all right, thanks so much for stepping here into theCUBE. Appreciate your time.
Great.
And you're watching theCUBE, the leader in live technology coverage. Thanks for watching.